Hello, my name is Amber and I am a certified yoga instructor at the University of Cincinnati. And today's practice will be a relaxation yoga practice to help stretch out your legs. So maybe you've had a really big leg workout, maybe you went on a hike recently, or maybe your legs are just feeling like they need a little extra TLC. Today we'll be going to the mat and stretching those out and getting them feeling a little less tense and good. So let's go ahead and come over to your yoga mat. So for today's props, we really don't need a ton. They're optional, you can add different things, but the main thing that I would like you to have, if you can, is a yoga strap. One of these guys. Now, this is an easy substitute if you don't have a strap at home. You could just use a scarf or a belt or an object like that, and those can be perfectly fine as stand-ins for your strap. So something like that. If you don't have anything like that, I will show. You can still do the practice for sure without it. There'll just be a couple poses that I'll show some modifications, just light modifications. So no big deal if you don't have it, but if you do, a strap, belt, scarf, something like that would be helpful. And then of course a blanket, if you're someone who likes to have a blanket in the practice, any kind of blanket is fine, just to get nice and comfortable and feeling good on the mat today. Again, if you don't have a blanket, no big deal. Of course, having a bottle of water at your side is good, so you can stop and take a drink of water at any time that you would like. And with that being said, we'll just go ahead and get right into today's practice. So let's start by finding a comfortable seat, whatever that is for you today. So I like to sit on my blanket to kind of elevate my hips. I find that it makes me feel a little more comfortable in my spine in this cross-legged seat. Again, that is optional, but just wherever you go, you find what's comfortable seat for you. Sitting bones rooted down towards the floor, crown of your head lengthens up towards the ceiling, shoulders relax down and back, sitting up tall with a good posture, but let it relax. Let it be relaxed as well. Your eyes can be open or closed as we just start to come in tune with our breath. Start to slow things down a little bit, taking this time out of our day to take really good care of our own minds and bodies, take a little time away from anything else that might be going on right now. So start to breathe in and out through your nose. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in and out. And just try your best to stay with this steady rhythmic breath as best as you can throughout today's practice. Maybe you like to inhale, let, exhale, go, if that resonates with you. And as you sit with this breath, I invite you to just take a moment to set a little intention for today's practice. So that intention can be anything that feels positive or uplifting to you, anything that you would like to focus your time on the mat in this practice towards today. So just take a moment here, sit with your breath, sit with that intention, kind of cultivate some positive energy if you can. And if your eyes are closed, begin to open them. We'll start with some warm-up stretches. If you have socks on, go ahead and remove them, because we are going to be doing some downward dogs and so a little bit of moving around on our mats today. But anyway, so if your eyes are closed, so go ahead and open them. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. Just start with a big stretch, lengthen up, reach your fingertips up as high as you can. And then exhale, send your left hand down to the floor. Right arm reaches up and over to the side, body stretch. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. Inhale, come back up. And exhale, other side. Really try to be mindful that you keep that left hip rooted down towards the earth. Breathe. Inhale, come back up again, and exhale, take your hands, clasp your hands behind you, and just try to squeeze your shoulder blades together a little bit, open up through your chest, take a breath in, and exhale out, release, and you can just kind of shake out your arms for a moment there. And we'll just roll your shoulders up by your ears, and roll them down and back, and do that a few more times here on your own, rolling your shoulders up and back. And then just allow your shoulder blades to relax down your back. And from here, just take a moment, check in with your neck, shake your head yes a few times, shake your head no. Just notice how it feels, and then come back through the center. Then from here, we will go ahead and scoot onto your hands and knees for your tabletop. So you can always put a blanket or something under your knees if that's more comfortable for you. Fingers spread wide, shoulders over your wrists, hips over your knees. And we'll move right into some cat and cow, so warm up your spine. Inhale, look forward, and relax down, tailbone lengthens up into your cow. And exhale, draw your navel into your spine, tailbone towards the earth, gaze towards your navel, into your cat. Inhale, sway forward, back into your cow. And exhale, back into your cat. We'll just do a few more of these at your own pace, with your own breath. And always remember, this is your practice, so just take your time and let it feel good to you. And then from here, eventually just make your way back to your tabletop or to your hands and knees. And just sink your seat to your heels for child's pose. Knees can be close together or apart. And stretch your arms out in front, feeling a nice stretch along your shoulders and upper back, or maybe you form a little pillow with your hands and just rest your head on your hands here. We're just going to hold this for about a minute or so today. Just continue to breathe in and breathe out. Just relax into your child's pose. Come back to your breath if needed. Come back to your intention. Take a little time to relax, unwind, release tension in your mind and body. Shavasana, child's pose. The resting pose, you can come back to this or anything else that feels like a resting pose to you at any time in the practice. Take a couple more breaths here. And then from here, just press down through the palms of your hands. Start to lift yourself back up to your tabletop or back to your hands and knees. This time, take your palms out about as wide as your shoulders, maybe a little wider if you'd like. Fingers spread wide. Begin to curl your toes under and lift your hips up to the sky for downward facing dog. This might be your first downward dog of the day, so feel free to kind of stretch, making movements that feel good to you. If your legs are particularly tight today, you might put a little bend in your knees, totally fine, or maybe straighten your legs, or maybe just even walk it out a little bit, bending one knee and then the other. Maybe you can shake your head yes or no, kind of shake it loose. Shoulders relaxed, navel drawn in towards your spine. Let's take one more breath here. And then inhale, lift your heels off the earth. Exhale to bend your knees. Inhale, step your feet forward to meet your hands. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Just let your head hang heavy. Hands may or may not touch the earth, no big deal. You might keep a little bend in your knees again, especially if this is the first time around and your legs are tight. Maybe you start to string, no big deal. And shoulders relax. Maybe start to feel a little stretch in the back of your legs here. Inhale, look up, lengthen your spine. Take your hands to your knees or your waist. Crown of your head lengthens forward with a flat back. And exhale, fold once again. And press down through your feet. Inhale, slowly roll up to standing a little bit at a time. Head and shoulders will come up last. And just take a moment here in your mountain pose, Tadasana. Let your feet ground down towards the earth. Crown of your head lengthens up and find a good posture. Your upright spine here. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. And exhale, dive it forward once again. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, look up, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, repeat that roll up from before. Slowly roll up to standing. Sweep your hands up to the sky. And exhale, dive forward once again. Inhale, look up, flat back. And exhale, fold. And just breathe here. We'll take about 5 breaths here. Feeling a lengthen in your spine. You might feel release in your spine and releasing your legs. Again, knees can stay bent or you might straighten them, but there's no pressure. Just kind of play around with what feels right to you today and trust yourself to know. Take a couple more breaths here. Eventually, put a bend in your knees enough to place your hands on the floor beside your feet. And step one foot back, followed by the other. Return back to downward facing dog. Walk it out a little bit if you want or not. Not a big deal. Just take one breath in. And then exhale, lower your knees back down to the earth. Come back to your tabletop, your hands and knees. This time we'll extend your right leg behind you and curl your right toes under. Start to press your right heel towards the earth. So you're looking to start to find a stretch in your calf muscle here, the lower back part of your leg. Option 1 is to stay here, or if you'd like, you could also curl your left toes under and just start to lift your left knee just a little bit so it covers, and then press your right heel towards the earth. So either one of these are fine. Just go to where you feel a nice stretch. Take one more breath in here. And then exhale back down to tabletop. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So extend, this time extend your left leg behind you. Curl your left toes under, left heel towards the earth. The main thing here is that you're just driving left heel towards the earth. It's not necessarily meant to touch. We're just looking to drive the heel in towards the earth so you can create that stretch along your calf muscle. And then from here, optional, you might curl your right toes under and let your right knee hover. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. We'll take one more breath in here. And then exhale, release it down to your tabletop. Once again, feel free to make any little stretches or movements that feel good here. You might shift your hips a little from side to side. Maybe you roll your wrists a few times. If you're doing a few downward dogs, you stretch your legs this way, back. Whatever feels good here. Just take a moment. And then we'll all meet up in tabletop and return back to downward facing dog. Just take a, we're not going to stay in this one very long. Just take a moment to get there. This time, inhale, lift your right leg up just for a sec into your 3-leg downward dog. Exhale, stretch your leg back behind you. Inhale, bring your right knee forward, right by your thumb. As you extend your left leg behind you. So we're moving into our pigeon pose. If this hurts your knee at all or bothers you, be aware of that. This pose might not be for everybody. But otherwise, just check that your hips, pelvis, and sacrum are level. Optional, you could place a blanket or something underneath that right hip to kind of give it something to rest on to help your hips stay level. And then from here, we'll start to lower onto your forearms and form a pillow with your hands and rest in your pigeon here. Your hip openers, you might feel an opening in your hips. You might also feel a release in your hamstrings or your quads or your glutes, just depending on where you're having tension right now. Or just make sure there isn't any pain and that you're not feeling this in your knee. So we'll take about a minute or so here, a minute or two, and pause in our pigeon pose. Continue to breathe in, breathe out. You might wiggle around a little bit, or you may find a place of stillness. This one can be kind of intense, so just go easy on yourself. You can always come out sooner than I say if you need to. Otherwise, just try to sink into it and feel the stretch, feel the release. Your shoulders relax. Notice your cheeks, your jaw, your facial muscles. Kind of let them relax here. We'll just take a couple more breaths here. And then from here, once you're ready, you'll start to extend your arms and lift your chest back up. Curl your back toes under, lift that back knee, and return to downward dog. You can feel free to walk it out here, or any stretches, movements that feel good to you. Just take a moment here. And then we'll move into pigeon on the other side. So inhale, lift that left leg up just for a moment. Stretch the leg out back behind you. And then bring that left knee forward towards your thumb as you extend your right leg. And check that your hips are square. You might place a blanket or a little pillow underneath your left hip if you find that helpful to you. That is optional. And then from here, eventually, once you feel good, like you're in a good spot, start to form a pillow with your hands and come forward, recline onto your hands. And we'll just take a couple minutes here like we did on the other side. Just notice anywhere that you're holding on to tension where you might be feeling a stretch or release. If it feels intense, just kind of try to keep breathing. Use your breath as kind of your anchor, your way to focus. But of course, if you feel any pain, then you release that little pose. Everything relax. You need to breathe in, breathe out, and let yourself just be. Let's take a couple more breaths here. And then begin to extend your arms and lift your chest. And then from here, curl your toes under, curl your back toes under, lift that back knee. And return back to your downward facing dog just for a moment. Again, we're not going to really stay here very long. I like to kind of walk it out, get any little releases that feel good to you. Let's take one more breath in. And exhale, lower your knees. And we'll just take a brief child's pose. We're not going to hold this long. We'll just take about 2 or 3 breaths this time. Coming back to your child's pose, and perhaps coming back to your intention. And then inhale, come back up to your tabletop. This time we'll just slide your feet over to one side. So it doesn't matter which side it is. If you have a blanket, you might want to grab that. We're going to come to a seat, kind of like where we started. And at this time, if you would like to put your socks back on, you can feel free to do so. We are done with, or we have finished all the downward dogs and things like that, and standing. We're not doing any more downward dogs or standing poses in today's class. So if you want to put your socks back on, you can do that at this time. And we'll come to a seat with your knees bent in front of you and your feet on the floor, sitting up tall and keeping the upright spine. Maybe roll your shoulders up and back a few times to relax your shoulders. And we'll let your knees fall out to the side, bringing the soles of your feet together. Inhale, sit up tall, create length in your spine. Optional to stay right here. Or a little bit at a time, slowly and gently, you could start to fold forward. Knees starting to feel a stretch in your inner thighs here. You can play around with the position of your feet. So if you want to feel a little bit less intense, like it feels too much, you could take your feet a little bit farther away from your body. And then in contrast, if you want to feel a deeper stretch, especially in your inner thighs, you could play with bringing your your feet in closer to your body. So choice is completely yours. There's no right or wrong option there. And then when you're ready, start to come forward. We'll settle into our Vatakanasana, round angle pose. Breathe in. Breathe out. We're going to stay here just for about a minute or so as well. Words can always come out sooner if you'd like. Just let everything relax. Notice any release of tension you might be feeling here. Feel the stretch in your legs. You can even feel it in your hips a little bit as well. We're all a little different, even on different days, so you might feel this practice differently than your friend, and you might feel practice differently today than you would if you come back and do this same practice next week. Just be accepting of wherever you're at right now, in this moment, in this time. Make sure there's no pinching or caning your back. If there is, you can always come back up a little bit. Take a couple more breaths here and breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale, start to slowly make your way all the way back up to your neutral spine. From here, we'll bring your knees back together and then stretch your legs out in front of you. Take your legs out wide, forming a V or L shape with your legs. And take your hands behind you, maybe even open your chest a little bit, look back for a sec. Then come up to your neutral spine. Inhale, sit up tall, lengthen your spine. And exhale just a little bit at a time. Start to fold over your legs. Take your hands to your ankles, your knees. You can even take them out in front of you if you'd like. Don't force this. It can be kind of intense. Legs are straight, so if you need to put a little micro bend in your knee, that's okay. But otherwise, the knees would not be bent here. So again, don't force it to come forward more than feels appropriate to you. Just go to where you feel a stretch. And we're not going to hold this one too long. We'll just hold this for a couple more breaths. Time and bring your legs together. You can just kind of shake them out a little bit and bring them back in. We'll just come back to a cross-legged seat like where we started the practice at. From here, inhale, reach your arms overhead. And exhale, take your right hand to your left knee and turn to look out over your left shoulder with your left hand behind you. Just coming into a little gentle seated twist. Inhale, sit you up tall, lengthen your spine first. Exhale to twist from there. Any amount is fine. We'll take another breath here. Inhale, look forward, gently unwind from your twist, reach your arms overhead. And exhale, take it to the other side, turn to look out over your shoulder. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhale, look back to center. Make your way gently back to center and making a little knees, your shoulder rolls. Stretch, kind of shake out your arms, shake out your legs, whatever feels good here. And then from here, if you're sitting on a blanket, you can just kind of set that off to the side. We're going to take a moment to transition on to your back. So just take a moment to make your way onto your back. And grab your strap if you have one. And just slowly lower down onto your back. When you get there, just let your back sink into the floor for a moment. And relax, take a breather. Knees bent in front of you with your feet on the floor. Going to bring your right knee in towards your chest. And then take that strap, if you have it, and slide it right underneath the center or the arch of your right foot. And then start to let your right foot extend towards the ceiling. If you're looking for a nice hamstring stretch here. If you don't have a strap or a similar item, instead what you could do is just take your hands to the back of your leg and extend your leg that way. So that's your other option here. If you do have a strap or scarf or belt or whatever you have, just try to let your foot relax into it. So we're not forcing our way through it. We're just letting your foot relax into the strap. Try to hold it. Generally, we try to hold the strap low enough with our hands so shoulders can relax down. Although sometimes I like to bring my hand up a little bit more, but still relaxing my shoulders towards the floor just to kind of help bring my foot in to really get that stretch in my hamstring. And you might not be here. Ideally, we're about 90-degree angle, but you might be more like here or here. And wherever you're at today is totally fine. That's just part of your journey, your practice. It just means that this would be a good practice or a good pose for you to practice at home. Just take a couple of breaths here. Remember, we're not forcing, so there shouldn't be any pinching or pain. We don't want to injure the hamstring. We just want to stretch it out. And then from here, going to extend your leg out to the right. Any amount's fine. To do a little bit, or you could go a lot. Whatever feels like a good leg stretch to you. And if you don't have the strap, you can kind of do this just with your hand underneath you and just do the best you can. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale over to the left. We're not going to be in this one for too long today. Inhale back to center. Once more, exhale, stretch it out to the right. Inhale back to center. Exhale to the left. Inhale to center, and then let's just pause and take about 5 more breaths here. ready, we'll just bring your knee back in towards your body. Release the strap off to the side for a moment. And then stretch your leg out in front of you. Just stretch and kind of point and flex your foot for a moment. And stretching your foot. And just noticing how it feels in your leg. If your leg feels a little different. After that, maybe your right leg feels different than your left. No. And then we'll bend your knee. Come back to where we started. Knees bent in front of you. Feet on the floor. This time, same thing on the other side. Bring your right knee in. And then either with or without your strap, we'll start to extend the legs. If you have the strap, you'll just slide it right underneath about the center of your foot. Or you'll take your hand to your hamstring, to the back of your leg. Just try to take your foot toward the ceiling. Also, your knee, your leg might be completely straight here, or you might have a little bend in your knee. That just depends on, each body's different. That just depends on how it works for your personal body. I wouldn't worry about it too much, as long as you feel that stretch in your hamstring and the back of your leg here, because that's really what we're looking for. And otherwise, just let your foot relax into your leg. Take another breath here. And then we'll do our other leg stretches. Inhale. Exhale, stretch your leg out. Take your leg out to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, out to the left, any amount. Inhale, center. Exhale to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. And then we'll pause and can take about 5 breaths or so here. Back to your intention. What are you focusing on during this time today? Just let it feel good. Remember, try not to tense your shoulders up too much. Take another breath here. And then we'll bring your knee in toward your chest. Release your straps down off to the side. And then release, stretch your left leg out this time. Point and flex your foot a few times. Bring it back to center. Come back to knees bent in front of you. Feet on the floor. Check that your knees are stacked over your ankles. Take your arms, rest them down to the side, palms facing down. We're just going to go into one bridge pose today. So press your feet into the floor. Inhale, lift your hips up. Lower, mid, and upper back. A little bit of time. Pause at the top. We'll take another breath in. Out. Take one more breath in. And exhale. Slowly release everything down, upper, mid, and lower back. And give your knees a little squeeze into your chest. Maybe rock a little from side to side here. Relaxing, releasing your back a little bit too. And then from here, we'll lower your feet down to the floor. And just stretch your legs back behind, or out in front of you. Stretch your hands back behind you to a nice full body stretch. Stretch your body long. Let's take a little more big breath in through your nose. And exhale, a big sigh out through your mouth. As you release your arms down to your side. And make any final movements or adjustments you'd like to make here to set yourself up for our Shavasana. Corpse pose, one of the most important poses of the practice. Maybe notice, hopefully your legs feel a little more stretched out, a little more loose. Of course, if you want to put something warmer on or use a blanket or anything like that, feel free to do those things. And eventually, you'll just find yourself lying on your back with your legs out in front of you. Your arms can rest to the side. Perhaps your palms facing upward to take in any positive energy we've created today. Or perhaps you place your hands facing down on your chest or belly just to feel a little more grounded. Whatever feels good to you. Just let your shoulders and your back sink into the floor and rest here. As your eyes gently close, you return back to your natural breath and just take this time to completely release everything. Take a moment of stillness, just these next couple of minutes here for Shavasana. About a minute left here. Try not to rush it. Take this time to relax and to just be. You deserve it. Couple more easy breaths here. Just let yourself stay here back, relaxed on the floor. And as you're ready, start to wiggle your fingers, your toes, and stretch your arms and legs a little bit. Again, just kind of reawakening the body, coming back out into the rest of your day. Just gently hug your knees into your chest when you're ready. And roll over to your right side. Pause for a moment in Fetal Pose. Peace is the result of retraining your mind to process life as it is, rather than as you think it should be. Dr. Wayne Dyer. And then mindfully begin to make your way back up to your seat. Just taking a moment here of gratitude towards yourself for taking the time out to come to this practice on your mat today. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll just take one more big breath in. Exhale, big sigh out. Let it release, let it go. Let's bring your palms to your heart. Namaste. Again, thank you so much for joining me for this practice. I hope if you were needing a little leg stretch that it did that for you. And either way, just overall release and relaxation, releasing tension from your mind and body. Of course, you can come back to this practice anytime you need it. And so always take really good care of yourself, and I will see you back next week. Bye.